I'm going to go through the very convoluted pathway needed to bring content from software like TestGen to Canvas new quizzes. Now, if you're using Cognero, this issue does not exist. Here's what I have. I have some homemade content in here, and I wanted to show that this will bring over superscripts, fractions, and figures, and that's why I stuck these two questions in. They really don't have much relevance to the same single course. So if I want to import these questions over, the first thing I have to do is in TestGen, I have to create a web-based test. Now, for Canvas, this is not obvious what you want to do. So I need to select this bottom option here for WebCT. Select this option to create a test that will open in WebCT. That creates a QTI file. Now what I can do is I can start to bring content into the test. So I can add my two questions. Here we go. I've got these into an exam. Now I have to go and make sure the exam is selected. So I click in this right-hand pane. If I click in the left pane, I won't be able to export this thing. So make sure I'm clicked in the right pane. I go to File and then Export. And again, I'm going to choose QTI. Now, the issue here is that TestGen will export as a QTI1 file. And Canvas can only read QTI1 files into old Canvas quizzes. If TestGen could export as a QTI2, then we could read these directly into new Canvas quizzes. So I'm going to say OK. I'm going to name this thing something. I'll just call it Test 66. And I can put this in wherever I want. I'm going to put it in with my other TestGen documents just for the sake of keeping things tidy on my computer. So I have to find my TestGen folder, and there it is. And I'm going to put it in the tests and save it there. Okay, so that's done. Now I have to bring this into Canvas. And here's the thing you have to think about with this. You have to bring this into Canvas old quizzes, create the quiz, export it back out, and then bring it into Canvas new quizzes. So I'll walk you through the process of doing that. So if I'm in Canvas, the first thing I have to do is I have to go to the settings for my course. And in the settings, I have to import course content. Now I'm going to select a QTI zip file. I'm going to choose the file that I created, which was test66.zip. There it is. Now I have several options. I need to select a question bank. It's going to go into a question bank. It's not actually going to go into a quiz. So I'm going to create a new question bank. I'm just going to name it the same as the file. Now, here's the thing that's really strange. There is this option here to import assessment content into new quizzes, but watch what happens when I click on it. It says this option is not compatible with new quizzes. And so I'm wondering, why is this checkbox here if that's true? I've tried manipulating this all kinds of different ways and it doesn't work. So anyway, and of course, now I've lost my my other information here. So there we go. All right. So I've got to create a new question bank. The question bank is named. Now if I click import, this will go into the queue, and depending on how busy your Canvas server is, this should happen pretty quickly in this case because it's a pretty short file. All right, and it's done. And so now if I go to quizzes, I can't see this. But what I have to do is either I have to go to manage question banks, and if I do that, there it is, and I can see the questions. But if I want to export this back out, and you can see the question formatting was brought over here. If I want to export this back out, what I have to do is I have to go back to quizzes and create a new quiz. And I have to create it in classic quizzes. So I'm just going to call this the same thing I've called the other files. Okay, I don't have to put any real details in here. So what I have to do here is I have to go to Find Questions, find my test bank, which is here, check off the questions that I want to select to bring in, and add them. Okay, so those two questions are added. Now I can change the point values and everything like that, but it's not worth the trouble to do any of this right now because we're going to bring this over in new quizzes and all those point values would be lost anyway. Now I save. I don't have to worry about the fact that it's not published or anything. Now I go back to settings and you can see how convoluted this is going to get. Now I'm going to export this quiz. And so I have to select the quiz. There it is. I'm just going to make sure I select the one I want to export. Create that export. Allow Canvas to do its thing. And now here's the thing. This is not obvious where this goes, but it's this new export link. So if I click on this, I can download it. And again, I'm going to rename it. In this case, I'm going to call it Test66A because it will save as a zip file and if it'll try to overwrite the other one otherwise. Now it's downloaded. Okay, now I'm finally ready to bring this into new quizzes. And so in order to do this, some people would say, okay, the logic is, well, I could click on an existing new quiz and I can tell those by the icon next to them and bring the content in. But sometimes this works and sometimes it doesn't. In this particular case, I can't import content into this existing quiz. This is really frustrating. And so what I have to do is I have to create a new quiz. This time I'm going to create a new quiz. I'm going to rename it or name it. Call it Test66A. Again, I can change all these other components to suit my needs, but really all I have to do at this point is save this. Now I'm in new quizzes, and now I can import content. And so I can go and I can find that particular file and bring it in. Sometimes this takes a little while. Now my content is in new Canvas quizzes. You probably want to edit these questions and change the point value. The other thing you may want to do would actually, I would strongly recommend that you do, is when you edit these questions, bank them as well, so that you could use them in another new Canvas quiz if you wish. I hope this was helpful.